So do you also wish to generate podcast ideas automatically? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to build an AI agent to auto-generate Google Sheets podcast ideas. So over here, I also used to generate the podcast ideas manually like you. But this is such a tedious task and it is very difficult to sound creative every time. So to solve this problem, I've simply created this amazing automation where what is going to happen is that as soon as I add the theme of the podcast in this Google Sheet, automatically my AI agent is going to generate me the podcast ideas. And further, we can add that same into the Google Sheets again so that my team can review it. So to do this, we are simply going to create a connection between Google Sheets, my AI agent, which is OpenAI, and then Google Sheets. And to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So if you also want to create this amazing automation for your own business, then for that you have to come with me towards my screen. Welcome to my screen. So in this video, I'll show you how to build an AI agent that auto-generate podcast episode ideas directly into Google Sheets. So whether you run a solo show or manage a podcasting team, this setup will help you to keep a steady stream of creative, audience-relevant topics without brainstorming. So let's turn your content planning into a breeze. And to get started, we're going to get started with a really simple example. Let's say that I'm just going to simply enter the theme or the topic direction right over here. And now what is going to happen is that my AI agent is going to generate me the podcast name, description, target audience, format, and objective. And yes, over here you can see within seconds automatically my AI agent has generated me all of these 5 details, and as you can see that too without any manual intervention. I only added this topic or the theme right over here. It generated me the podcast name, description, target audience, format, and objective too. And now my team can review it further and select the status right over here. Alright, so as you can see, this is no magic. This is the power of automation which we are going to create in today's video. So if you also want to create this amazing automation for your own business, then for that you have to watch this video till the end. So to do this, we're going to open a new tab and we're going to open the landing page of Pabbly Connect. So I'm just going to simply search for pabbly.com/connect right over here. And now it is opening the landing page of Pabbly Connect. And after opening the landing page of Pabbly Connect, we are going to get two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can click on this sign up for free and you're going to get 100 of tasks free every month to explore the application. But over here, I am an existing user, so I'm simply going to click on this sign in. And now it is opening all Pabbly apps, and over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video we are going to use Pabbly Connect because we are connecting different applications. So I'm simply going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connects account. And now it is opening my dashboard, and to start with this automation we simply have to go towards this create workflow. Now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So over here I want to save the workflow in this folder which says automations, and I'm just going to name my workflow as this: how to build an AI agent to auto generate Google Sheets podcast ideas. And then we are simply going to click on this button which says create. And now after clicking on this create, it is opening the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow is going to run. Trigger means when this happens and action means do this. So by this you can understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger. And that's the particular reason that we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of a trigger in a particular workflow. And to get started, we are simply going to select our trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm simply going to select it as Google Sheets. So I'm just going to search for Google Sheets and select it right over here. And now for the trigger event, I'm simply going to select it as new or updated spreadsheet row. And now it is giving me a webhook URL. So we're going to use the same webhook URL in order to create a connection between our Google Sheets and our Pabbly Connects workflow. So I'm simply going to copy this webhook URL. And now what we're going to do is I'm just going to open my Google Sheets and now we have to go towards this extensions, add-ons, and then we have to go towards this get add-ons. And after coming over here towards this get add-ons, what we have to do is we have to add an extension in this spreadsheet, which is Pabbly Connect Webhooks. So I'm just going to search for Pabbly Connect Webhooks right over here and select it. So over here you can see that I have already installed this extension in my spreadsheet. So that is the reason that it is giving me the option of uninstall right over here. But if you haven't installed this extension, you are definitely going to get the option of install right over here. And you can simply install the extension from here. And after you install the extension, you have to refresh your spreadsheet. It is a really important step to refresh your spreadsheet. Otherwise, you're not going to get the option of extensions and Pabbly Connect Webhooks right over here. And after getting the option of Pabbly Connect Webhooks, we have to go towards this initial setup. And after coming over here towards this initial setup, it is asking me for the webhook URL and the trigger column. So now for the webhook URL, we are simply going to paste the URL which we copied from our workflow. And now for the trigger column, I'm simply going to enter my trigger column right over here, which is A. So the trigger column will be your final data column on which if the data is added, the whole of that row will be sent towards your webhook URL. So over here, what I want is that as soon as I add the theme, automatically the details should be sent towards my webhook URL. And further, AI is going to generate me the rest of the details like podcast name, description, target audience, objective, and the rest. Alright, so I only want to enter the theme. So that is the reason I have kept my trigger column as A. If you wish, you have to send two details towards your workflow, you can select it as B and so on. So you have to enter this trigger column according to your own spreadsheet. And after entering this trigger column, we are simply going to click on this button which says submit. And now it is saying setup configured successfully. So with this, we have successfully created a connection between our Google Sheets and our Pabbly Connects workflow. But now it is saying waiting for a webhook response, and in the notes it is saying do a test submission / record. So in order to capture this webhook response, we have to do a test submission or record. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to open my spreadsheet. We're going to go towards this extensions, Pabbly Connect Webhooks, and over here we're going to switch on this button which is send on event. So it is a really important step to switch on this button which is send on event, because what is going to happen is that as soon as you're going to switch on this button, automatically the details which you're going to enter right over here in your spreadsheet would be sent towards your webhook URL. So that's why it is a really important step to switch on this send on event button. Alright, so now we're going to do the test submission. So to do the test submission, I'm simply going to enter the theme or the topic right over here. And yes, now with this, we have successfully did the test submission. And now Pabbly has captured the response of our test submission. Over here, you can see the same. Pabbly has captured the theme or the description. Over here, you can see the spreadsheet name and the sheet name too. So yes, with this, we have successfully completed our trigger step. And now what is going to happen is that as soon as I add the podcast theme right over here in my spreadsheet, automatically this workflow is going to get triggered. Alright, so now we're going to move on further. What I want is I want to use an AI agent to auto generate Google Sheet podcast ideas. So I'm just going to go towards my action and select the action application as OpenAI. So I'm just going to select my AI agent right over here. And now for the action event, I'm simply going to select it as ChatGPT and click on this connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your OpenAI account with your Pabbly Connects workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection. And now it is asking me for the token. And to get this token, we are simply going to follow the help text. And it is saying, kindly visit your OpenAI API key page to get the API key that you need to enter here. So I'm simply going to go towards my OpenAI API key page to get the API key which I want to enter here. And after coming over here towards this OpenAI API key page, we simply have to go towards this create new secret key, and I'm just going to name my key as podcast show ideas. Now I'm just going to select the project and click on this create secret key button. And now over here you can see that my key has been created. So I'm simply going to copy this key and then we're going to paste it right over here in our workflow. And after pasting this API key, we are simply going to click on this save. And with this, we have successfully connected our OpenAI account with our Pabbly Connects workflow. And now it is asking me to select the AI model. So I'm simply going to select the AI model as GPT-4. And now it is asking me to enter the prompt. Alright, so I'm just going to enter my prompt right over here. So now I've successfully entered my prompt, which is generate a creative one podcast idea. What I want to generate is add it right over here. And now I'm just going to enter the detail to use right over here, which is the theme or the topic. Alright, so I'm simply going to enter it, but we're not going to enter it manually like this, but Instead, we are going to map it. So you must be wondering, what is mapping? So mapping is a method by Pabbly, which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step, where we selected Google Sheets as our trigger application. So we are simply going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only. And as soon as we're going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. Alright, I'm simply going to map this theme right from here. And after mapping this, I'm simply going to click on this blue button which says save and send test request. And now my AI agent is going to generate me all of these 5 details in separate fields. So yes, now you can see that my AI agent has generated me the podcast name, description, target audience, format and objective right over here. So yes, with this we have successfully completed this AI agent step, and now I'm just going to add all of these details into my Google Sheets. So to add these details into my Google Sheets, I'm just going to add another action step, and now for the action application, I'm just going to select it as Google Sheets right over here. And now for the action event, I'm simply going to select it as update row. So I'm just going to search for update row and select it right over here. And now we are simply going to click on this connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Sheets with your Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection. And now we have to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google. And now Pabbly is asking me to select my Gmail account. So I'm simply going to select my Gmail account with the help of which I want to connect my Google Sheets. And after selecting my Gmail account, Pabbly is asking me for some permissions. So I'm simply going to click on this allow and give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because my data is secure with Pabbly. And as soon as we're going to give all the permissions, with this we have successfully connected our Google Sheets account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me to select the spreadsheet. So I'm simply going to select my spreadsheet as podcast show ideas. So I'm simply going to select the spreadsheet right over here. And now for the sheet, we simply have to select it as sheet 1. And after selecting the spreadsheet and the sheet, we are going to move on further. I'm just going to enter this row index. So over here, I'm simply going to look for row index in the response of previous step and map it. Now we're going to move on further. Over here, it is asking me for the topic or theme. So as you can see that this is the detail which I've already entered. I only want to enter the rest of the details. So I'm just going to leave it as blank and enter the rest of the details like the podcast name. So I'm simply going to map all of these details one by one. Alright, so first I'm just going to map this podcast name right over here. Then I'm just going to map the description. So like this I'm mapping. You also have to map all of these details. Alright, we are going to map the format too right over here. Then we're going to move on forward. I'm just going to map the objective right over here. And now with this we have successfully mapped all of these details. I'm just going to leave this theme and status as blank and click on this save and send test request. And as soon as we're going to click on this save and send test request, yes, you can see that we have received a positive response that we have successfully added these details into our spreadsheet. And yes, with this I'm just going to open my spreadsheet, and over here you can see the details have been added. So now you can see automatically without any manual intervention these details have been added. And now I can select the status right from here and do the further process. So yes, with this we have successfully generated the podcast idea within minutes. And now what is going to happen is that, like I showed you in the real-time example in the starting of this video, within seconds, as soon as I add the theme, within seconds automatically all of these details would be added right over here. Also, we don't have to come back and again to our workflow to click on save and send test request. All of this is going to happen in backend. And now go and try this amazing automation for your own business. See you in the next video with many more automation tips, everyone. Thank you for watching.
So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can integrate many more applications. So if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.